A post-apocalyptic, futuristic world with mechanical creatures roaming the land and preying on humans. No, I'm not talking about the Horizon games. I'm looking at something that came 7 years before. So many great titles came out on 7th gen consoles, and a lot of them were left behind there. Enslaved: Odyssey to the West was one of them. Released on PS3 and Xbox 360 in 2010, then PC in 2013, this game was well received, but didn't sell enough for it to become a household name. A third-person action-adventure game was a common genre back in 2010, so standing out was a real challenge, especially when going against titles such as God of War or Assassin's Creed. While you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe for more OK Gaming. Developed by Ninja Theory and published by Bandai Namco, Enslaved was based on a 16th century Chinese novel called Journey to the West. Many people may know the character of the Monkey King, or Monkey, from movies, and that's who our main protagonist is inspired by. We have a companion named Trip, who helps us with certain puzzles and actions in the game. But let's start at the beginning. Monkey is trapped in a pod of some kind on a slave ship. He spots a girl freeing herself, hacking a computer, then running off. A malfunction causes an explosion and Monkey is freed from his prison. We catch up to the girl, who manages to get into an escape pod. Which she launches with us on the outside. This is Trip, and once Monkey wakes up, she reveals she's modified a headpiece and installed it on Monkey, telling him that it will melt his brain if her heart stops beating for any reason.
My head feels like it's ripped open.
It's the headband.
What?
The slave headband. The one I fit on you.
You put this on me.
Let me explain.
Get this thing off, or I'm gonna rip your head off.
No.
No? You think I'm screwing with you?
You! Give me a stop! It works. If I die, you die.
Oh. Why?
I need your help. I come from a wind farmer community. It's about 300 miles from here. I'll never make it on my own. If slavers don't get me, Max will.
The world is filled with dangers, navigating through and around destroyed buildings, avoiding mines and toxic waste, and fighting near endless mobs of seemingly sentient machines. Once we reach Trip's village, she notices it's very quiet, with outposts abandoned when they should be constantly manned.
Oh, that's strange.
What?
Why have the security gates been activated?
We jump and climb our way into the village to discover the slavers have ransacked the place leaving no survivors.
Wait! Wait!
We enter a vault where we find the body of Tripp's father and listen to a message he left her.
In case that day comes, I'm recording this message for you. Just to say this. It's a blessing for me at this moment to know you're alive. I love you, Tripp.
Tripp tells Monkey she now wants to go west, to find who did this, and that she won't take the headpiece off until she finds whoever is responsible. By now, though, we're so used to the headpiece, and Tripp hasn't used it to zap us, so no arguments here. It does, however, give Monkey weird flashes of pre-war life with fields and landmarks, even people. We first go in search of a friend of Tripp's father, Pigsy.
Tripp? Is that you?
Pigsy! Pigsy!
Are you here alone with Where's your father?
He lives across the wastes and has the technical know-how to build a vehicle that can cut our travel time down. After we find the right parts, he fires up his flying machine, and we're on our way.
According to my calculations, we've traveled 1,200 miles.
Don't they have security down there?
Unidentified flying craft, why are you approaching our airspace? We have no landing codes for your vessel. Unidentified craft, please transmit your landing codes.
The landing codes?
Affirmative.
Copy. Just a minute. Well, my landing codes are, 1.
1.
Yes.
1 what?
2. Hey, I think it worked.
Are you coming?
Well, at least I get to be on the inside this time.
Monkey, would you mind shifting your left arm slightly?
I don't really see how I can.
It's just your hand is right on my penis.
We get shut down and accidentally stumble across a Leviathan, a gargantuan mech, which takes us a while to get working.
So, this beast has 4 legs, each shackled to the reservoir floor.
Okay, then we travel to each shackle point in turn and set explosives.
You'll have to figure out how to switch the engine on while I get to the control room.
And you drive the Leviathan out of here.
Tripp turns off the headpiece.
What have you done?
There's nothing controlling you anymore.
So I can just leave.
If that's what you want.
Turn it back on.
But
You heard what I just said. Turn it back on.
But Monkey realizes he doesn't want to leave her, or something. Maybe he just didn't want to lose all the cool UI. Once the Leviathan is sorted, we head to where the slavers are, which turns out to be a giant, shiny pyramid. If you don't want ending spoilers, here's your chance to skip. Ready? Okay. So, we fight off giant scorpion mechs. But the only way to defeat them all and get Trip to the pyramid is for Pigsy to overload the Leviathan and cause a massive explosion.
It's not the only way!
You have to be clear of the blast radius.
Monkey!
Do it! Do it now! We don't have much
No,
time!
Pixie, no!
Come to Daddy.
Monkey and Trip escape and find a way into the pyramid that's never shown. Here's where things get a little weird.
Is this him? Is this the man behind it all?
Stop. What are you doing here?
It turns out this is where the headpieces are controlled,
Why are you attacking me?
projecting pre-war memories of one man into people's minds.
Pyramid.
It's pretty much the Matrix, with their physical bodies being in a war-torn world, but their minds living in a relative paradise.
I have enslaved no one. I rescue people from the wasteland. I give them life.
You give them life?
Pyramid is the memories of one man who lived before the war. I am that man. But I am more than a memory. I am more than an archive. I am an arc.
These pictures. That's what I've been seeing. Through the headband.
Your world is a wasteland in which you fight to survive. Pyramid is a world in which you can live. Go on. Go on. Put on the mask.
Monkey!
Just wait. Trust me.
Monkey stares into a mask that shows him a pre-war world. One that he could never imagine seeing in person.
Monkey? Monkey!
It's beautiful.
Trip, meanwhile, rips out all the cables controlling the central figure.
It's done.
causing all the masks to shut down. The pyramid fades, and the people are freed. Most of this game focuses on the climbing mechanics, so to me it was a very vertical game. Thankfully, it wasn't too janky, and most of the time I could climb around without getting stuck. We don't have the ability to jump freely, only when we're at a ledge with somewhere to jump to. This was also welcome, as it stopped me from falling off countless edges and platforms. These mechanics do remind me of the Uncharted games, and as 2 of them came out before Enslaved, it's easy to see where the inspiration came from. The handholds and items we can grab and climb can be a little hard to see though, as they shimmer rather than have a specific colour to look out for. Trip as a companion is not too bad. She's no Elizabeth, but she can be helpful. We use her to level up our stats, heal us, and even cause a distraction so we can get past turrets.
Okay, got it. Go!
If there's a platform she needs to get to, we can throw her up to it.
You'll need to make your own way up.
We can also fling her across gaps that might be too wide for her to jump. And sometimes we'll need to give her a piggyback to get through obstacles, like minefields. The puzzles aren't super hard, and a lot of the time the camera will pan to where we need to go.
What'd you say, monkey?
Or we'll be given hints from Trip or her dragonfly camera.
I'll put a marker up on your headband display.
Pressing L1 will always show us where Trip is, and when there's an on-screen prompt, it will usually show us something significant in the area. There are some puzzles which include moving both Trip and Monkey to a location, via bridges or platforms. For example, when we're entering the village, there's a bridge puzzle where you need to get Trip to access controls, then get Monkey to a certain point in order to reset the bridges for Trip to come up. It seems complex at first, but nothing too brain-melting. These kinds of puzzles only occur a handful of times, so you're not forced to do them too often. Monkey uses a staff to fight off the mechs, again as a callback to the novel, except minus the mechs. We have normal and strong attacks, and when we smash a mech, we get a slow motion close-up of Monkey's rage face. I did like this at first, but during combat-heavy areas or towards the end, it felt like this wasted valuable time. We can also do takedowns on enemies, sometimes just tearing them apart, and other times using them as a weapon to defeat other enemies. He also has a ranged attack on his staff, firing stun or explosive plasmas. Some enemies have a blue shield, and we can only break through it by stunning them, then firing an explosive. It's also used in collaboration with Pixie's bombs to open areas or move obstacles. Trip doesn't have combat skills. She'll trigger an EMP, which disables all the enemies around her for a short period. If she gets attacked more than twice, I think, then she will get smushed. And Monkey's brain will too. The mechs come in different forms, such as melee, shielded, and turrets. There are also huge boss robots that we have to defeat in different ways, such as using the environment or getting its health down, then chasing it to perform a takedown. Do I say it now? Or should I save it for later? Let's get it out the way. As you know, I play on not a real gamer mode. So for me, the enemies were easier to defeat. But sometimes I'd still get overwhelmed. The puzzles and climbing were a little more complex, like trying to see where the next handhold was, or timing a jump so I didn't get set on fire. The storyline was moved along fluidly, and if there was a level that looked confusing, Trip would send out her dragonfly to mark points so we could find our way. The levels are all very linear with not much room for exploration, but there are little orbs which we collect to buy upgrades. These can be out in the open for us to see, or they can be hidden round a corner or in a derelict building, if you choose to be nosy, like I always am in games. There's no map, but we don't really need one as the level is all set out for us, and Trip will keep us moving in a general direction. We do get an awesome little toy to play with though.
My cloud works here.
What's that?
It's a cloud.
Doesn't look like a cloud.
This again is a reference back to the novel, with the Monkey King riding on a cloud. This one, however, is not made of miniature liquid droplets suspended in the atmosphere of a planetary body or similar space. This is a hoverboard. The game doesn't let us use it in all situations, and explains it by Monkey saying,
How does it work?
Dunno. All I know is it works some places and not in others.
fair enough. This was another beautiful game, and I would happily frame a screenshot of it and put it on my wall. The character models were well done, and Monkey's movements were fluid and quite natural. The environments were vast and detailed, and throwing in a landmark or two that a player would recognize was a great way to establish size, or create a feeling of familiarity, while reminding the player of what was lost. There were some jank moments, of course, and the camera was all over the place at times. Either it would swing round like it was on a string, or it would suddenly flip to a fixed camera, allowing only nudge controls. The design of the Megamechs were awesome. Using scrap metal and broken parts to create a machine that held the shape of an animal was clever. Then throwing in the behaviors and movements just rounded them out nicely. The flashes Monkey was seeing through his headpiece were a little jarring, which could have been the result the devs were after. But mixing real life with CGI always pulls me away from the game world if not done properly. Having photos of the world and people pop up, then going back to the game was a little weird, like it drew attention to the graphics and opened up an opportunity to compare realism. I might be getting too deep with that, but hey, it's fun to analyse. Another fairly short game, I finished it in around 8 hours. The game is split into 14 chapters, which was a nice touch considering it was based on a novel. I thought the first half of the story was being told at a good pace. We had a goal and we were struggling to fight our way towards it. Once we met Pigsy, however, the story felt like it ran out of stuff to say, so we were given climbing tasks to bulk the chapters out. The ending felt really rushed, like they didn't have enough time to get into detail or explain everything that a player may question. It also felt like they've given up on the whole emotional aspect of things too, like Trip's anger was nowhere near what I would have thought she would feel when confronted with the person behind wiping out her village.
Is this the man behind it all?
Enslaving us!
Did I do the right thing?
Monkey was brought to life by voice actor extraordinaire Andy Serkis. And man, what a great job he did. From the grumbly, gruff anger and annoyance.
See that gun on its tail? I'm gonna rip it off. Then I'm gonna blow its frickin' brains out. So I should just don't get it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
To the soft and meaningful moments when Trip needed a friend.
Is there somewhere survivors could have retreated to?
There are not gonna be any survivors.
We don't know that.
The war room, maybe.
Okay. Okay. Show me.
Trip was voiced by Lindsay Shaw, a lesser-known actress, but a solid performer.
Every time you kill a mech, I can download its schematics. Figure out what makes it tick.
She gave Trip a strong-willed and at times fearful personality.
We're gonna follow a slave ship west, find out who's behind all of this.
And then what?
Then I'm gonna kill him.
What's going on?
It came out of nowhere. I was just looking around and...
Whoa.
While making her likable and make a player feel like they could trust her. There was little music during the exploration parts of the level, with very slight noises creating atmosphere or tension. It reflects the empty but mysterious world we're in, with small noises keeping us alert to enemies. The music turns orchestral and dramatic during combat though, almost like it's mirroring the environmental noise being made by mechs and fighting. Cutscenes were again quiet, with only small sounds breaking through to enhance the mood.
What is it?
The road ahead's mined. We need to find another way.
I think I might be able to do something. Follow me.
Hey.
When we're riding the cloud, however, we're given a funky little soundtrack that reflects the fun and freedom we have while zooming around.
You make that jump?
Yeah, I think so.
There were points where I was confused at certain behaviours or decisions the devs made with characters. I already mentioned the cloud availability thing, so we can skip that.
As I say, works some places, and not in others.
Yeah. So can I get on it?
Sorry, only room for one.
Right at the beginning, Monkey finds a guard and asks where his gear is. Monkey gets a little aggressive and the guard gives in.
The stuff, where's my gear? Stuff you took away from me.
I can't talk to you, it's against the rules. Item storage in the lower hall.
Slave 6B58 is assisting escaping prisoner. Level 1 infraction. Command. Terminate Slave 6B.
A few moments later, the headpiece fries his brain. The guard must have known this would happen. I can't imagine they weren't told the punishment for breaking rules. So why did he give in so easily? Wouldn't he have just suffered the wrath of Monkey without giving away the location of his gear? Another point was after Trip and Monkey find Pigsy. He and Monkey are searching for parts. Then Pigsy starts asking Monkey about the relationship between him and Trip, getting a little slimy. Up until this point, I thought he was the comedy relief and a protective friend to Trip. But he decided hitting on his dead friend's daughter was the right thing to do. It made me wince.
It's just I always sort of fancied my chances myself with Trip, you know. But if there's something already between you, I'd respect that. I'm not the kind of guy to go muscling in.
Pigsy, she can hear every word we say. But if you want to take your chances, go ahead.
Okay. Hey, Trip. You grew up so fast. You're a woman already, and maybe I was thinking you might need a man, you know.
So how'd it work out for you?
Let's go. Got more stuff to get.
Just a moment. Will you go and put your fingers in your ears?
Monkey does yell at him for this, but much later than he should have.
Spoiled my heart to Trip. She tells me we're just friends. I know what that means. It means she's had her head turned by a monkey.
Don't know what you're talking about. And if you had any sense, you wouldn't be trying to hit on a girl who has just lost her father.
Ah, so that's your game, huh? Huh? The shoulder to cry on.
You're crazy.
Crazy like a fox.
No, like a pig!
The idea of romance was very short-lived too. It gets touched on towards the end when Trip turns off the headpiece and Monkey doesn't want her to. But after that, there's nothing. Just seems weird to shoehorn something like that in and then pretend it didn't happen or have any impact. Another spoiler alert, feel free to skip my rant. Also, at the very end, why did Monkey put the mask on? He'd been seeing flashes throughout the game, sure, but wouldn't Trip putting the mask on and seeing things have been more beneficial to the pyramid? Like, showing her could have made her understand, rather than describing things poorly. Just don't think Monkey putting on the mask made any difference, and Trip was kept in the dark for no real reason. It can't have been because he had the headband on. Pyramid would just broadcast to it. So surely Trip would have been able to see with just the mask. I really enjoyed this game. It was fun to climb around and see the amazing world that was built, and some of the mechs were so well designed. The combat was straightforward and not confusing, and you could make it as complex or as basic as you wanted, by button mashing or timing parries and dodges. Monkey was a likable character, with his aggressive and intimidating facade hiding a soft and caring soul.
Find a back door to the quantum encryption circuits. I can try to bypass the security systems and then...
You know what? I'll just find off an entire army while you do that.
Sounds like a plan.
Trip was thankfully not an annoying companion, but at some points it was grating hearing her shout commands at me when I was fighting off mechs.
Monkey! Monkey, shoot them out! You gotta save me! Help!
If you enjoyed the Uncharted, Horizon, or Tomb Raider series, this will fit right in with them. A fun time smashing mechs and climbing through a beautiful broken world. This was fun. Let's do it again sometime. And if you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like down below.